on KnicksFanTV, which you can watch on YouTube. As I've always told you, I love it after losses. After wins are okay, but after losses, that's my drug. So you talk to them every night. To me, a 51-win season and being the 3 seed would be like, hey, that's a really cool year. We'll see what happens in the playoffs, but that's a really cool year. My impression is most Knicks fans don't feel that way. It's almost like, blah, 51 in the 3 seed. 2-part question for you. A, how you feel.
Yeah.
And then B, do you get the impression that Knicks fans feel like this was a good, fun, successful regular season?
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I feel good about this team at 51 wins. But like I was telling you before you went on air, there was an aura to when this team started making the playoffs. Like when they made it during that COVID year, it was the first time they made it in 8 years. Fans were coming back into the Garden. There was an electricity in that game 1. I was there. You could see the goosebumps on your hand. It was that potent. You can feel it. The next year, same thing with Jalen Brunson. I'm sorry, they missed it the next year. And then the following 2 years with Jalen Brunson, it was like, man, we're here. We're sort of the underdog. We can come in here and make some noise with this new guy, with our new point guard. So it felt great. Now it's kind of like an expectation. Like, you know what? They should be here. They should beat Detroit. And if they don't, it's going to be a colossal failure. So I think that's why it's kind of diminished a little bit.
But doesn't it almost feels like the Knicks fan doesn't believe that they're as good as they were a year ago.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
It's unbelievable.
Because they are.
Yeah.
And I know this is just on paper and you still got to perform. You got to do it. They feel healthy this year, unlike last year. But the Knicks fan seems pessimistic, and I can't figure out why.
It's unbelievable, the levels of pessimism. It's because they've seen this team kind of coast to the end of the season. They lost a couple of bad ones. San Antonio, you had some guy off the bench drop like 34 points in 19 minutes. Yeah. Back-to-back nights, they go into Charlotte. They get washed there. They lost a couple of games there in the end that they had no business losing. At Cleveland, they had a 20-plus point lead. They lose that. So a lot of the fan base, the common reaction is this team's a first-round exit, fire the coach. You had some fans saying, hey, I hope this team loses so that they can fire the coach.
Insanity.
And it's insane.
And then do what? That's always the question.
Right.
And then what?
And so I tell these fans, I'm like, this is playoff time. There's no better time like this. Take the diapers off, take the bibs off, and then lock in with the team.
Is it as simple as I'm going to take 3 games that you won, I'm going to give you a loss instead?
Yeah.
Maybe 2 games against my team, which I wouldn't have wanted since it was a tank season. But let's say last game against the Nets you lose, and that game earlier in the season at the Garden that Jet I took to and he cried when Jalen Brunson hit the game winner. Let's say you lose that game. But I'm going to give you that win against the Thunder in Oklahoma City where you had a big lead at halftime. And I'm going to give you one of the games against Boston. 51 wins, 3 seed, but you beat the Thunder once. You beat the Celtics once. I kind of feel like Knicks fans would view 51 in the 3 seed completely different. I think it's, for me, I think it's meaningless. Who cares if you won a game against the Thunder? Yeah. But I feel like the mentality would be different because you would have had those victories against the elite of the elite.
Those are the measuring stick games. It's like, Giants versus Dallas, right? When Dallas is at the top of the East, like, you want those measuring stick games to say, we belong, we're in that same class. But the reality is that they went winless against the Celtics, the Thunder, the Cavaliers. So it took the wind out of a lot of the sails of this season because there was so much expectation, so much pressure for this team to be up there and be considered in that class of the elites.
And so now they didn't. They went over. You mentioned it.
Yeah.
Do they have a chance against any of those teams? I mean, Cleveland seems like a team that the Knicks can beat, and maybe some people will say should. But can they?
I think they can beat Cleveland. Definitely. I really
just
do.
Cleveland, not Boston.
Boston is tough.
OKC,
They're the class of the league.
They're the best team in the NBA.
They're the best team in the NBA. Both sides of the ball. Coaching, they have the edge. They have the superstar talent edge. And Jason Tatum has been playing unbelievable ball. But against Cleveland, look, they lost the first game against Cleveland at the Garden. They gave up a lead. The 3 other games was on the second night of a back-to-back. They should have won that last one at the Garden. They had no business losing. But I don't see Cleveland as a major threat to this Knicks team. I think Boston is a legitimate matchup threat for the Knicks, where 1 through 5 on both ends of the floor, it's a tough cover for the Knicks. And so, listen, I think I'm going to give them a fighting chance. If they go 6 games, 7 games with the Celtics, I think it's a great year.
51 wins and the 3 seed. This was a good regular season. Right?
This was a good regular season.
I completely agree. Because I think when we sat here before the season started and I said, all right, 50 wins, 3 seed, it's like, okay, cool. I mean, that's a good year. After 82 games, the biggest concern about the Knicks is what?
Their defense. Their defense is...
And isn't that kind of surprising?
Very.
Yes. Well, no. Actually, no. Because with Karl-Anthony Towns at the 5...
Yeah. Your two best players are defensive liabilities.
Your two best players are defensive liabilities.
Right.
Now, I will say that when they did bring in Mikal Bridges and put him with OG Anunoby and Josh Hart, the idea was that those two guys would help shore things up. Those three guys would help shore things up on the perimeter so that you wouldn't have so much of a liability as your backline of defense with Karl-Anthony Towns. But the reality was anything but that. Bridges was up and down, and Towns, between up here and his physical limitations in terms of how he twitches his hips and how his legs are moving, where he's aligned on pick and roll coverages, it's bad news.
Well, it's interesting because Karl-Anthony Towns has this, I don't know, this reputation of being soft. And offensively, I don't think he's soft. I think he will go be aggressive, but defensively, it's like he wants to be around the perimeter all the time. And so, like you've lost a lot of what Tom Thibodeau's identity is defensively, because it was always top defensive rating. You got some shooters, you're going to be able to go far. But with this being flipped the way it is, Tibbs has got to coach his ass off. Can he do that? I think that's the bigger question. And when people start saying, oh, he's not the coach to take us to that next level, I think that's what they're talking about.
Yeah, big time. This fan base has been very sour on him. I mean, after every loss, they want him packing his bags.
Right.
And then that noise ratcheted up even further when you saw guys like Mike Malone be shown the door a week before the playoffs start, right? Memphis' coach, Taylor Jenkins, out of here before the playoffs start. So Knicks fans, they're putting their tinfoil caps on like, hey, maybe we can stir things up. But make no mistake, Tom Thibodeau, he's going to have to coach this team to success, especially in the second round. I don't think they'll need him in this round here against the Detroit Pistons. The Knicks have more than enough talent and depth to get it done. But against the Celtics, he's going to need to show some coaching chops, some adjustments, some new wrinkles. He's going to have to throw some junk out there and will this team to victory.
One of the things, I don't even know if I'd call it junk, but one thing that when you guys made the Cat trade, I was intrigued by, we were all intrigued by, is Cat and Mitch on the floor at the same time. Now, obviously, Mitch missed a lot of time, and I think they've only shared 45, 46 minutes combined in the time since Mitch has come back. Yeah. We haven't seen a lot of it. When they've been on the floor, though, it's actually been rather effective.
Yeah.
What do you think the plan is? Like, do you think Thibodeau is actually going to use that in this Detroit series? Are we going to see more of kind of the Twin Towers on the floor at the same time?
You're going to have to. I even volleyed to start Mitch. That's how important I think he is to
Would
this
you
team.
put Josh Hart on the bench?
I would. Not because, and Josh Hart's my guy, not because he has been struggling. He did struggle to finish the regular season. I look at Josh Hart like I look at Jalen Brunson as a playoff riser. He just seems to rise to the occasion, and I think he still will. But for the Knicks, Mitchell Robinson is so vital for their defense. I just want him to be out there for them to have set a good tone. You have Cade Cunningham, who is the #1 utilizer of the pick and roll, or #2 in the league. Detroit, #1 in screen assists. So they're going to go to that a lot, and they're a top 10 team in points in the paint. So they want to get in there, and Mitchell Robinson is that guy that is going to be a rim protector. He's going to disrupt rhythm. And he can switch. He's switchable. You saw him out there against Jason Tatum and the Celtics, and he dared Jason Tatum, hey, shoot that three. Yeah. When Jason Tatum shot the three, he sent it into the stands. So that's how important Mitchell Robinson is to this team. I think we will see those two big looks in this series. He may not be in the starting lineup, but I give him a good chance to be closing games.
Am I crazy to say that, like, the problem with putting him in the starting lineup is there's something about that locker room. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know if there's something wrong, but there's always been like this bubbling tension.
What do you mean?
Throughout the season.
What do you mean?
Yeah, there's been bubbling tension throughout the year. Remember when Josh Hart was like, we need to check the egos and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
And I didn't say it's the end of the world.
But who is he talking about?
I don't know. I have my theories.
Well, who do you think he was talking about?
I think he was talking about OG Anunoby.
A lot of people thought that. A lot of people thought that.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm right and the other people are right. It's just, you asked me a question. I don't know.
When you hear that this year, it's all right, well, who's new? And OG wasn't new. OG was here a year ago.
I think the reason I thought it's probably why a lot of people did, wasn't the moment he was pissed, was a moment where OG, I guess, didn't listen to him on a defensive rotation.
Yeah, he wanted to rotate.
It looked like some, but my only point of bringing this up is, if you all of a sudden you go to Josh Hart, who's like the soul of the team, and he's a good dude, because I finally got to tell him to his face that he bullied Mikal Bridges to the Knicks, and he had a good sense of humor about it. He's a good. I respect that.
And he said, no, Mikal's the actual bully.
Yeah, he did.
It doesn't make sense, but whatever.
I'm like, you're so full of crap, but whatever. Yeah. Don't you think that would almost go over badly? Like, he's started all year. All of a sudden now you're going to be like, yeah, you know what? We're going to go Mitch in the starting five with Cat.
You know what, Josh? Of all those guys, he's the most versatile. He can handle it. And to me, he comes off as a more selfless guy. He's going to do whatever it takes for the team to win. I don't think Tibbs is going to do that because he's a creature of habit. But certainly, he's got to be able to go to that if their interior defense continues to get exposed as it has. And one of the major issues, as you spoke about, is their chemistry defensively all year has just been up and down. And a lot of it has been on the communication. We had Tom Crean, OG Anunoby's former coach, college coach. We did a film breakdown yesterday on KnicksFanTV. We break down film on KnicksFanTV. You should take a look.
I learn a lot.
It was an excellent and insightful show, but
that legitimizes you in ways that you don't even know.
He loves that, bro. Oh, he's like, I'm in.
Right.
Yeah. But no, we talked about how the defensive communication, it has to be on point. They have to be on a string. And all year, you've seen it on the television.
Yes.
They just have not been.
And it was almost like we excused it away. It's like, this team is new. They don't know. They haven't been together. They're still learning Tibbs' system. They'll figure it out.
Yeah.
They have it.
Has not been there.
So then, let me ask you that, because it is interesting, and we have seen it all year, but we don't know the whys. What are the whys? Like, we did kind of excuse it, and I tried to as well. Like, you got to give these guys time to mesh. Guys are learning how to play together.
Right.
Well, we're 82 games in. They were relatively healthy this year. I know they were never fully healthy, but think about it. Like, most of the time, the guys were out there.
Yeah.
Why did he think that the communication continues to be an issue with this team then?
You got to talk. And that's a major reason why Mitchell Robinson's been so impactful. 7 years with this team. The defense has always been stout when he's there. We talked about with Towns and Brunson their physical limitations. And with Towns also, his defensive awareness is not there. Bridges individually, the way that he fights through screens or the lack thereof. Statistically, the worst screen navigator in the league. You have a guy like OG.
I told you that, Tiki.
Yeah, you did.
OG, a stout individual defender, but he also gambles.
Yes.
So you have a guy that gambles. You have to be able to cover for him. Teams are looking to isolate and get Brunson out there in those pick-and-roll actions. And once they do that and you put the Knicks in the rotation, you've got to be talking. You've got to be communicating. And that's why, especially with their three-point defense, it's been porous. And with Towns as a backline of defense, a lot of the times when teams are attacking the basket, it's been brutal.
That's where this series can be scary, though.
Yeah, this one. I mean, 100%.
Forget Boston and Cleveland, because it's like, we'll get there. We'll have time if you guys get there. But it's Tim Hardaway, it's Malik Beasley, it's give these guys open shots. And then in transition could be a disaster, too. Like, those are the things that would scare me about the Knicks defense versus the Pistons offense.
It just feels they're too young, not fully baked yet, Detroit.
Yeah.
But what is the threat in your estimation?
It's Cade Cunningham. That's a threat. They don't have
threat to take a couple or threat to win the series?
Well, in the regular season, he averaged about 30 points a game, 56% shooter of the field against his team. So, you know, the way that he can break this Knicks team down, if he's able to draw Jalen Brunson into those pick and roll actions, he's been a great player for them. And also on the other side of the ball, if the Knicks don't take care of the ball, that's Detroit's A game. Yeah. Getting out and transitioning and getting those fast break points. So they have to be very careful with the
Let's talk about success, defining it fully. Because it doesn't feel like this Knicks team is quite good enough to get the ultimate success. Obviously, I mean, NBA championship. But what would be success? Getting to the second round again? Like, what's success?
Yeah. Going down swinging against Boston. Or beating them, obviously.
Well, yeah.
You know, obviously you want to beat them. But if they lose swinging. Don't get swept. Don't get gentlemen swept, and you're getting blown out by 20 every night.
Yeah.
You know, give the Garden faithful something. Games 3 and 4. Give them a fight, and I think they can. They showed that in that last matchup during the regular season. The Knicks are capable, but against Boston, you have to be damn near perfect to win.
Yeah, this is where I could be a jerk,
Yes.
and I'd love to, and say, well, you lost in the second round again. You're a bunch of losers. Yeah. But if I'm being fair, the Celtics are the best team in the NBA.
Yeah, the matchup is not great.
They are. I respect the Thunder. The Celtics are the best team in the NBA.
Yeah.
So losing to the best team in the NBA, even I, who would love to troll you, how the hell do you troll that? I completely agree with you. I think you'd almost have to leave a Boston series saying, we're close. We are
that's success.
To me, if I'm being fair, and I don't really want to be fair, but I'm going to try. So you'd have to walk out of that series saying, okay, they beat us. That's the best team in the NBA. But I'll tell you right now, we're not that far
So it's funny, because I remember at the beginning of the season, this is after the trade deadline, so it was at the All-Star break. We were talking about, the thing that sucks about them, they can't do anything. Like, they can't get any better than what they are
at the trade deadline, right?
After it, because nothing happened really.
Sure.
And so let's say they give Boston fits. This thing is 7 games. They just lose in 7.
Yeah.
Right? What do they need to do to be better than Boston? Yeah.
Well, the next thing that they can do is, with the little money that they will have, they'll have a little bit more money when the cap goes up, and they'll have the opportunity to get a veteran who's a little bit better than what they have. So you try to shore up the bench a little bit. But that's how they can build it.
Going to be good enough to be better than Boston?
Well, we'll have to see how they match up in the second round.
So I think now, after this whole discussion, we've been talking for 17 minutes, this whole discussion, I think this is why the Knicks fan feels the way that they feel.
Yeah.
It's because I don't want to say it's hopeless, because anything can happen in sports, right? But it almost feels that way.
Look, it takes time. How many years of the Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown tandem did it take for Boston to win a championship? Yeah, but we just had 2 years ago when they lost to Golden State saying you should break those two guys up.
But do the Knicks have that? They have that much runway. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like Tatum and Brown were young.
They were young.
Really young.
I think the Knicks are still young. Josh Hart is, of those starters, he's the oldest at 30. Right? You still have all these guys that are under 30. Mikal Bridges' contract year will be coming up. They just signed OG. They just signed Jalen. So I think they have a little bit of runway. And the things that they will need is bench upgrades. Their young draft picks that they drafted this past year. In particular, Pacome Dadier. Kolek is cool. He's all right as a backup point guard. They've got to hope that Dadier, who's at 18, 19 years old, can really take a couple levels up in these next few years. And then if not, the quickest thing to do, like every other team has done just now, bye-bye coach.
Yeah, no doubt.
Right?
That's a part of it.
That's a part of the investment.
You may even be hiring one of those departed coaches, if it happens like Michael Malone.
No, it won't be Michael Malone.
No?
Yeah.
Because of Thibodeau's relationship with him?
No, well, sources have told KnicksFanTV they don't
like him?
There's not too many fans in the organization, Michael Malone.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, in his previous organization.
Yes.
Oh, I see.
Okay, fair enough. That's good to know.
He was here.
Write him off the list?
Yes, I did inquire.
I'm sure you did. You're already inquiring?
Yeah.
See, you know what I don't like? And I try to put myself
So wait, that means you don't like Tibbs?
No, I like Tibbs, but that's just the nature of the business, right? When you make this investment to put the team together like Leon Rose has, it's ultimately going to be up to the coach to get them to a certain point. Before you disband the whole thing and start over,
absolutely,
you're going to say, can we find a coach that can maximize his talent
every time,
if this guy's not doing it?
Dude, you're 1,000% right, because all you got to do is look at every other team. You put together a roster you think is good. If you don't get as far as you want to go, you change the coach. When that doesn't work, maybe you change the coach again. When that doesn't work, you blow the whole thing up.
Blow the whole thing up.
Now, we're not close to that. And to me, I think what bothers me, even though I'm not sitting here rooting for you guys, is I win 51 games. I'm the 3 seed. I'm in the playoffs for the 3rd straight year. I'm freaking fired up. I'm not overanalyzing, am I going to fire the coach if I get knocked out? Yeah. I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking, let me go beat the Pistons. Let me get to the Celtics. By the way, when I get to the Celtics, how the hell do I know Kristaps Porzingis is healthy?
Right. Jaylen Brown just got a knee injection before the playoffs
started. He's got the knee issues. So I'm not saying it's all predicated on injuries, but you don't know. Yeah. So why are we talking ourselves into this? It's impossible. Yeah, the Celtics are fully healthy. It would be tough to imagine the Knicks beating them, but so much can happen by the time we get there. And that's why the negative beliefs that I've heard from Knicks fans, I'm like, I kind of feel bad for you.
Now, quick question. You're fired up, right?
Yeah.
You have season tickets.
You're damn right.
Are you coming to game 1 or did you sell them?
I will be at game 5.
Oh, my God.
What?
I
needed to be at game 1?
You said that's when the juice is at its peak. Electricity in the garden. And here you go again, making a profit off of our fame and our progress.
That is true.
Yeah.
There are personal reasons for game 1.
Okay.
And you'll understand this. My family's been out of town for an entire week. Yes. I've had a lot of time by myself.
Congratulations, by the way. It's a great feeling, isn't it? It's a great feeling.
It's a great feeling.
Yeah.
They're coming back. They're like pulling into the house at like 5:30 on Saturday.
Okay.
There's no way.
Yeah.
Especially the Knicks, because my wife knows, Evan, you hate the Knicks.
Yeah.
You're going to be away from your family when I've been away for a week to watch the Knicks.
Yeah.
So that one's out. But game 5, I plan on being there. And I'll tell you just my honest prediction. These guys get mad at me. They think I'm trying to jinx you. I'm being honest. I watch KnicksFanTV. I like to learn. I like to see what you guys are thinking. I think you're winning in 5. Yeah. Honestly, I think I'll be at the closeout game. And I think, the Pistons offer some concerns. They're a functioning NBA team. They have a star in Cade Cunningham, who I think is emerging.
Right.
And he poses major matchup problems. And, there's a chance the Pistons are going to beat you in transition one game and you'll lose. I just think you're so much more talented than them. And I'll tell you the other thing, I think.
Yeah.
JB Bickerstaff, did we not remember?
This is the series that Tibbs and I coached the other coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you guys remember the Cleveland series?
That's right. That's right.
I'm assuming that all of a sudden that softness we saw from Cleveland, now the Pistons are big tough like they had the bad boys. I'm confused, I'm stuck in 1989.
No, that makes sense.
I don't buy it.
That's a good evaluation.
And I'll tell you the other thing. You guys are just more talented.
Yeah.
Like, if we're doing a list of best players on the floor, Cade's wherever you want to put him. I wouldn't, personally, I'm not there to put him 1 because of Jalen's postseason experience. So I put Jalen 1, but Cade's very close.
Yeah.
And then it's
After
Knicks.
that, it's all Knicks.
It's all Knicks.
It's all Knicks. It's all Knicks.
Yeah.
But what I don't get is, Cade is like that. He's the new in thing. He's a new shiny toy. Every broadcast, every platform. Cade, he's the best player in the series.
Well, you got to build stars.
He has no experience.
But you got to build stars in the business. You know how it works.
That's not what's going on, Teak.
Yeah, the disrespect for Jalen Brunson has been ridiculous.
I think it's a combination of two things.
But at this point, it's so ubiquitous. Why even worry about it? Like, who cares?
Oh, I don't think you guys should worry about the national media.
No.
They hate you.
No.
Like,
Yes.
seriously, they literally... See, here's the difference between me and them. I tell you to your face I don't like it. And you know it, and you know what? A part of you can respect it. The national media, whether it's Shaq, whether it's any of the experts they put on ESPN, they're not telling you the truth, which is they don't like you.
Yeah.
Oh, the Pistons are going to beat the... I mean, come on.
Yeah.
They're doing it for a variety of reasons, but they're being dishonest in their dislike for you. And that's why you should respect us, Nets fans. We tell you straight to your face we don't like you. But I do think, like, talent-wise, at least in this series, I think you have a major talent advantage.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why I'm going Knicks in 5.
And according to the pizza, it's not even a close.
It's not even close.
Now, let's get into Cade Cunningham. When we get back, we'll talk about that matchup problem he could kind of give the New York Knicks, plus a lot of other things about this series. Knicks Pistons, it all starts tomorrow night, Madison Square Garden. I won't be in the building, but I'll be there soon, I promise. Look, my initial reaction to Detroit Pizza was to look at it and say, what the hell is this? And even while eating it, I would give you this formal review as I hold up part of it because I have like one bite left. It's bread. It's like 96% bread, and then there's like a centimeter of cheese and a tad bit of tomato sauce, but it's like 98% bread. And what I would tell you is bread's good. It's not like I'm saying this is terrible. I'm not spitting it out, but, I mean, this is pizza?
It's cheese bread.
It's
glorified cheese bread
You're right.
that you dip in a sauce.
Yes, you need a sauce.
Yeah.
So I agree with you on this. Now, Sean Morash, and I don't know, I got to figure this out. Is this Sean being Sean? No. But Sean actually loves it and claimed off air, and I'm curious if he'll have the balls to do it on air, that this is better than New York pizza.
I want to make this very clear because pizza's been a hot topic around here. The New York pizza we got today from Dorale.
Yep.
That is way better than some of the pizza we've ordered traditionally around here.
Okay.
I'm not going to put down any places. All I'm saying is comparing this to bread or like Sicilian, this is better than New York Sicilian pizza.
Oh, no way.
And you guys are just calling it like bread with cheese on it. No. It has seasoning within the bread that you're tasting. It has good, tasty undercarriage and crust on it.
Yeah, it's like not quite focaccia, but it tastes a little bit like it.
Yeah. And I just think it's New York arrogance to go, that's not good pizza. No, that's good pizza.
It's not a bad bread for a bread class.
No, but now
it's not in the pizza class.
But now picture actually being in Detroit and not one-offing a New York twist on Detroit pizza. I bet you Detroit-style pizza in Detroit gives New York-style pizza in New York a run for its money.
No, I don't know.
I don't know,
about
man.
that, dude.
We have too much arrogance around here.
It's not arrogance if it's true. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's not being cocky if you can back it up. And New York pizza backs up the cockiness. Like, I don't think we're being overly cocky. It's the reality.
Not always.
All right, there's only one way to settle this.
Which is?
If the Pistons could get this series to a 6th game, I think we have to make a road trip to Detroit.
All right.
Hey, with CP.
Let's go. I'm with it.
We did it last year for Philly.
What day would that be?
That's a great
I think
question.
it's Thursday.
You're right.
Game 6 is a Thursday.
You're right.
So next Thursday?
It would be...
No, not next to the following Thursday.
Yeah, 2 weeks from yesterday.
Yeah.
Next Thursday is the NFL draft. That would be game 3. Game 6 would be the following week.
Oh, well,
May
my
1st.
family will be gone.
And your family's gone?
All right.
Oh.
But I'd have to be back because I have to go to Orlando on Friday.
That's fine. We'll drive right back.
All right.
Drive.
No, me and Tiki be on a flight. You can drive with Tommy.
You don't want to drive?
No.
I'm not driving either. by the way.
CP, would you fly or drive if you were
I'm
taking-
fine.
Yeah,
I'm fine.
Like normal people.
Quick
don't
trip.
fly.
I'm fine.
So I'm just driving by myself, essentially?
Yes.
I've driven to Detroit before. I told you that I locked my bike against Comerica Park.
Yes.
And also my dog, Dudley, he was a puppy then, actually peed on Comerica Park.
Nice.
Yeah, lifted up
Very
his leg
nice.
and went to town.
Nice.
All right, let's get to Cade Cunningham. What a transition from Dudley to Cade.
I know. What the hell?
First of all, how do you view him? He's never played in the postseason before. Obviously, did a great job against the Knicks this season. You're a good basketball fan. Give me your overall view on Cade Cunningham, the developing star in this league.
I love his game. I'm always a fan of bigger guards. So he's a big guard, and he's got the vision, man. He has the vision, and that is what I think elevates guys to that superstar level. It's the ability to see the game and be 2 steps ahead of a defense, to be able to not just react, but be proactive in terms of how you set the defense up to make your plays. And that's what makes Cade so dangerous. And so he's able to use his size and get into the paint. But then once he's able to bend the defense, that's how he makes his team better. I mean, you look at that team, Tim Hardaway Jr., Malik Beast is having an outstanding year. Tobias Harris. Well, it looks like a decent team. Cade has taken them to another level, and that's why he's so dangerous.
Is he, because I was talking to a buddy of mine who's a Piston fan, and this is a very mixed opinion in Detroit.
Yeah.
What is he defensively? They feel like he's made some growth over the last year.
Right, but he's so young. Does it matter, really?
Well, it matters in terms of, like, you talk about vision. I think the next step to being a real superstar is, are you a two-way
player?
Like, I love Jalen Brunson. I think one knock on Jalen, and we're going to see it in this series, is they're going to hunt him defensively. He's just not a great defensive player. And I think that's the difference between him being a top 3 player in the league and being a top 10 player in the league. With Cade, you're right, Teak, in the terms of he's still young, he's still developing. But how do you view him defensively?
Yeah, I think he's certainly gotten better. And like I said, he's got the size. And so the thing about Cade is that what other teams want to do with your subpar defenders is you want to surround them with better defenders. And you have Ausar Thompson out there who's just as good as a defender as his twin brother. I mean, they've been amazing defensively. He's going to be taking another level up. And then with, like, Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren, their ability to protect the paint, that's what makes Detroit so stout. And then on top of that, they turn you over. So to a man, they can help as a team, as a collective, defend. But Cade, is, as his one-on-one, is not a bad defender. But if he's guarding Jalen Brunson, I mean, say a prayer. Yeah. Nobody stands a chance against him.
Obviously Jalen Brunson is the most important offensive player for the Knicks. Yeah. But if there was a 2 that has to have an on series against Detroit because of what you're talking about defensively and their ability to turn you over and destroy you in the fast break. Who is it? Is it OG?
Yeah. It's Mikal Bridges.
Mikal Bridges.
The reason I say that
is... Good luck, pal.
Yes. The reason I say that is because I think Karl Anthony Towns will have a great series.
Yep.
Because Detroit won't be able to get out there and contest. Jalen Brunson is Jalen Brunson. I expect him to perform. OG Anunoby, even though he's finished the season very strong and been very aggressive, he's a guy that even if he doesn't get the ball, he can create offense just by being a defensive nightmare out there. So he can be a one-man fast break. But it's Mikal Bridges who I look at where if this team gets kind of bogged down in the half court, he's a guy that you can run plays for. His mid-range has been potent.
Yeah, no doubt.
Super efficient.
That's his strength, yeah.
And I think it's very key for them to get him going early because he might draw the Cade Cunningham assignment first. And so I want him locked in defensively. I want him engaged.
You think, as I was assuming OG would get that call, how do you think they're going to handle trying to defend him?
I think it'll be by committee. OG, to me, is going to do the best job because he's the one that can match the physicality, and especially in the playoffs when the referees let a lot of things go. That's who I want, especially in crunch time. It's going to be OG Anunoby. I think he's going to do a fantastic job. But you could see Mikal Bridges start off. And if it is... the way that, again, Detroit's going to be running him raggedy through screens. I don't want him just out there getting cardio on the defensive end. We've got to keep him engaged offensively, run those screens for him, get him those baseline jump shots, get the guarding going and get the guarding behind him. He needs that. I feel like, certain guys have that ability to just get into their own rhythm. I feel like Mikal Bridges, he needs that little encouragement, a little wind beneath his sails, if you will, to get him going in the garden.
He needs encouragement. Like he's a child.
I hate to say it, but this is the guy that we've seen all year.
Well, he's getting, it's hard to say he's getting used to the garden, getting used to New York, but he was here. So
he wasn't here. He wasn't here. He wasn't here.
But I'll be the first to tell you it's not like he's in Seattle and doesn't hear it. He's aware of it. You have to be.
The funny thing is,
even if you're just across the river in Brooklyn, you're aware of it.
The funny thing is that the last game of the season after the Nets game at Barclays, and they interviewed him, they're like, what did it feel like to be back? And he's like, man, it's just the energy in this building.
I'm thinking to myself, what energy are you talking? I was in the building for that game. There was no energy. By the way, I don't want to make a big deal of it.
Yeah.
But I am curious.
Was he talking specifically about the Knicks game?
They asked him about returning to Barclays.
Yes, I know, but returning to Barclays to play a Knicks game.
Right.
Because if he's talking about the energy, it was all Knicks fans.
Right, that's right.
so maybe
let me defend my people.
Yeah.
Okay. I was in the building. It was not all Knicks fans. It was probably first of all, I think the place was dead.
I mean last year.
Oh, last year.
I'm talking about last year.
Last year.
The energy in the building.
Last year it's weird. Last year was more Knicks fans than this year.
Yeah, we were there.
The Nets had a weird year this year where they drew really well with like fans, quote unquote, or just people that are consuming basketball who aren't rooting for the other team. It was very odd. Like that last game was like 60-40 Knicks fans.
Yeah,
like you definitely had the edge, but it wasn't like I thought it was going to be worse. What did you think of 6 seconds? Like, did that bother you that Bridges, who did not have a great year this year, his streak it's fine, it's respectable, and then he gives you after the game, I was doing it for the young guys. How about you not play then? Like, what'd you think of him playing 6 seconds, fouling immediately to run away and leave?
I didn't mind it, man.
Really? Does it happen frequently?
Well, actually, it did when the Dallas Mavericks tanked the Knicks pick last year before they got Derek Lively. Remember Luka Doncic?
Yes.
They brought him in and they had him on like a very high load management. So they definitely had that trick up their sleeve. I didn't mind it, man. He's earned the streak so far. I think it's remarkable the fact that he's been able to accomplish that and play on two sides of the ball and for this long since he's been in the league. Keep it going. Get him some rest for the playoffs. I didn't mind.
By the way, I think his streak's really impressive too. Like I'll be the first to tell you. I mean, in this league, even when you're not getting maintenance days, it's tough to stay healthy for 82 games.
That's right.
And there were many times when he was with my team, even this year, where you see him and you're like, "Oh, he got hurt. He sprained an ankle," and then he's fine. So, that's awesome. I just think it's almost insulting to the streak to only play 6 seconds. You want to play 15 minutes? Okay, you played 15 minutes.
I position it as a stat. Give me a stat other than a foul. So a shot attempt, a rebound, an assist, anything other than a foul.
Would have been a bit more respectable. I did.
Right.
Yeah, you know I'm right. That's the funny part.
Yeah.
Who gets more crap from Knicks fans this season so far, Cat or Mikal?
Mikal Bridges.
By a lot?
Easily. Easily. And Karl Anthony Towns, he's been an all-star this year.
He has, but it feels like he's still taking the heat for this idea that he's soft.
But that's who he is.
He disappeared.
That's who he's been.
Well, yeah, I think it's because last year's team felt really like gritty, and rugged, and like hit me in the face 15 times. It don't matter. I'm coming back.
Yeah.
This year it feels like shoot that thing from way out there.
Right.
What? Right. It's not the same.
And that's why it's so interesting when you stack up the rosters, the playoff rosters from Game 1 against Philly and Game 1 against Detroit. It's night and day which roster is better.
No doubt.
But the aura around last year's team was just way different.
Why? So Dante DiVincenzo, obviously, iHeart. Julius didn't even play, so I would just throw him out. Why is it so different when a lot of the roster is still the same in terms of the grittiness and the toughness in your mind?
Because of the departure of those guys.
Yeah. Those guys changed everything.
iHeart was major. That loss was major. And I remember when he left during free agency, and I did a couple of shows like, man, we are going to miss this guy. And fans were like, oh, you treated him like Will Chamberlain. I said, you watch. You watch. And look what he did with OKC without Chet Holmgren. There's a reason why they were the #1 defense in the NBA. His court vision, he's incredible on both ends of the floor. And that was a major loss, and it was a CBA loss by the Knicks. They had no opportunity.
They could do.
Nothing they can do. Dante also led to that grit. And so this team is a little bit different, but they still have gritty guys. Jalen Brunson.
Right.
They've got Mitchell Robinson, Deuce McBride, Josh Hart.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still there. It just seems like last year's team just had a bit more, when you talk about grit in terms of not letting go of the rope when you're down by 20 points, fighting back.
So, obviously, put iHeart away because there's nothing they could do. You said it best. It was a CBA move.
Yeah.
Do you regret, because I wouldn't, if I'm you guys, regret the Cat trade, and would you say you regret the Mikal trade?
No, because I used to go back and forth with fans on this. I never thought that Julius Randle was going to help this team lead a team.
Couldn't agree with you more, by the way.
I never believed in him.
It didn't feel like the fit was ever going to be just right.
No, and so when they traded for him, that was the best you could really do in terms of getting someone who was either on his tier or a little bit better. That was really the best that you can do. So I didn't mind it, but I did see the defensive shortcomings with this. And then with no Mitchell Robinson for 3/4 of the year, you got what you got. But it's a gamble. And I say this to Knicks fans all the time, where this build, it's not a perfect build. You look at the past champions, Boston, Denver. It started with their 2 drafted studs, and they tinkered around it for years and years till they got it right. Coaching factored in. With the Knicks, they got to get lucky in a lot of these things. Brunson was a big strike of luck. They got that. Now they're trying to make these trades because they didn't have the homegrown talent to really take this team over the top. So it's an unconventional build when you look at, past champions, but you have to roll the dice.
I've heard, I forget which Piston player said it. May have been Isaiah Stewart, who's borderline dirty.
Yes.
Which I think everyone will.
Beef stew.
They'll soon realize that if they haven't watched.
Yeah.
But they've talked about how physical this needs to be. And I forget which Piston player said it. He even compared themselves to the bad boys, which I was like, bro, you
ain't that.
Yeah, no.
You got to pipe the hell down.
Yeah.
Like, go do something, and then maybe. Do you think that physicality is going to define this series?
I think the talent is ultimately going to define the series. What the Knicks can't do is buckle under, the physical play of the Pistons. But that's why I say they have the guys that have that experience. Jalen Brunson can play that style. Josh Hart can play that style. Mitch Deuce, they can play that style. But I did like when they met each other in Detroit in that last game. I like
Is that Thibodeau giving you a call asking for some advice? CP, I got to ask you.
I like that the Pistons took it up to that playoff level and that the referees really let things go. And you saw where Karl Anthony Towns, Beef Stew, wasn't giving up an inch in the post.
Yeah.
I liked how they were getting physical with them to give the Knicks a taste for what it's going to be like in the playoffs.
It feels like, I was saying this after that Detroit game, which I didn't think was a big deal. I think when you get to the end of the regular season, it's like, dude, whatever, let's not get nuts.
Yeah.
But P.J. Tucker made a comment where he said, we need to be more physical.
Right.
We need to be tougher. And we were talking about it on the air, and a bunch of Knicks fans called in, and they were like, yo, he's going to
get midgets.
He's going to
minutes.
get minutes in the playoffs.
Right, yeah.
He's going to be the difference. Now, he did play a lot of minutes in the Detroit game. He played a lot in the net game. Before that, he hadn't played at all. Do you expect P.J. Tucker to be anything other than inspirational guy on the bench?
Yeah.
You think he's going to play?
And by the way, if he is just that inspirational guy, how does that? What does that do?
Well, it's interesting because when they did ask him about coming here, and he said, we didn't have that before I came. So I thought that was an indictment on this team, on the locker room. And yes, Jalen Brunson is the captain, but I look at him as a captain. He leads on the court. He leads through his play.
Right.
But what P.J. Tucker's going to bring is a guy who, number one, he's won a ring. And so he's been in those dog fights a lot more. He has a lot more experience. And so when fans were like, man, why didn't they use that 15th roster spot on someone who can actually contribute at a higher level? Maybe Leon Rose and these guys thought it was more important to have a guy who's been in the trenches before, really rally these guys and get them together.
So you think he's not playing, obviously.
I don't
He'll
see
just
it.
be that
Right.
guy off
Yeah.
the bench who can make a difference in terms of talking to guys and reminding them of, hey, and he's got a lot of playoff experience. I mean, I'll tell you firsthand, he got under Durant's skin in 21. I think he was one of the big reasons they won that series.
Yeah.
So I do respect him, but he's not playing.
I don't expect him to play. No.
All right, your official prediction in this series is what, CP?
I'm going Knicks in 5.
Knicks in 5.
Knicks in 5.
Knicks in 5.
Yes.
No sweat. Now, if you lose tomorrow, I make a big deal out of this, I think, because Beningo used to make a big deal out of this, and I've learned a lot from Joe B. And he is a Knicks fan. And Joe would say, if we lose game 1 at home, bro, we're dead. And the reality is the Knicks have never won a postseason series in which they have lost game 1 at Madison Square Garden. And we have some experience with this because you remember the Miami series a couple years ago, the Atlanta series. So we've had some recent examples of it. Does this scare you about tomorrow night? That history tells you if you lose, basically, good night.
Oh, it shouldn't because you're a better team.
I know, I'm just saying.
You're a better team. They would pretty much have to not show up if they're going to lose the series. It would be an indictment on this roster, on the coach, and up, top, down.
If they lose this series, we're having a lot of very uncomfortable conversations, is what you're saying.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I thought Zerbiak, because, again, national media is looking to start a fight. But Zerbiak, he's a Knicks guy.
Yeah.
And he made that comment recently of if they don't win this series easily, it is an indictment on whatever's going on in that locker room.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Now, speaking of uncomfortable conversations, I was out there in the green room eating my lunch when I heard the merch, the KnicksFanTV merch that I brought for you, especially in a bagged up. You, Mr. Barber, you weren't here. I was going to bring you something, but I knew you weren't going to be here.
Yeah.
What happened to the shirt, bro?
So here's what happened, CP. I was sitting there in my office. There was a spill. I can't remember what the spill was. And I freaked out. I'm like, what am I going to do? I got to clean up this spill. Looked around, had nothing but that beautifully blue KnicksFanTV shirt.
Disrespect.
And I promptly used it, not going to lie, to clean up the mess. And then, yes, I also used it as a napkin for my mouth because I was eating food.
The disrespect.
With that said, no. With that said, I went home, had it washed.
And it's here, you said, right?
Yeah, and it's back here, yes.
So what do you guys think? Group think? Should I go see if it was truly washed?
Yes.
We'll see if Evan's lying.
How are you going to be able to tell it was washed?
Well, if it's washed, there won't be a stain on it. It'll look good. I'll go find it, guys. I'll be right back.
Yeah, why don't you go find it? I don't think there's going to be a stain on it. I mean, I cleaned it.
You did it or your wife did it?
Believe it or not, Teak, I don't know how things work in everyone's household. I'm the laundry guy.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's solid.
And I don't mind it. Like, it's a cathartic thing.
So
like,
you do the dishes too, or your wife?
I don't do the dishes.
Right. So you can't do both.
I do not do both.
I think in most houses, the laundry person is separate from the dish person.
Yeah, because it's too much work.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I'm the dish person in my house.
Oh, really?
But I don't do the laundry.
Interesting.
I do both. My girl does both. We switch. Yeah.
What does that mean? You do both, your girl does. Who does both?
Yeah. Like, sometimes
I'll only do laundry if I need something washed and Tracy's doing something else. Otherwise, it's Tracy does all
And
the
what are you saying? You switch off?
Yeah, we switch off. Like, if I'm in the kitchen, I'm by the sink, and there's dishes in there, if I got a couple seconds, a couple minutes, I'll wash it.
I think that's trouble, and I'll tell you why. Because how do you know if it's your moment to do it? Like, if you're in the kitchen and you're like, screw it, the Knicks are about to start, I'm going to leave.
Yeah.
That could be misconstrued as, what the hell's going on? How come you didn't do it? You were in the kitchen. I almost think you need a plan. I'm just giving you advice, man, as a friend. Like
a rule sheet and put it on the fridge.
Just claim one and stick with it.
Stick with it.
Or that, because then it's going to get, let me see the shirt. Let me see if it's clean.
Let's see.
I think I cleaned it. What are we saying? We see stains?
What kind of detergent are you using?
Yeah, there's some stains on it.
Come on.
I don't see stains.
Just a little one.
That's
it's a little chalky.
That's my
It's
dishwash.
a little chalky over there.
I mean, that's my dishwash. That's my soap I use. Hand it over. I'll wear it anyway.
Oh, man. He's using Gain.
Yeah. What if I wear it? Doesn't that prove it's clean?
Not really if you're wearing it now, Evan.
Oh, let me put my KnicksFanTV shirt on, which, by the way, I want to make clear, does not make me a Knicks fan. Just makes me a fan of your YouTube show.
Yeah,
right?
there you go, man.
That's all. There you go. It looks nice. I look good.
It looks good on you.
Now, you got a watch party tomorrow?
Yes, we do have a watch party at the Ainsworth 45 East 33rd Street. We got a blockbuster agenda, man. The legend John Starks is going to be joining us for a pregame show. He's going to be joining me one-on-one pregame show and a meet and greet with the fans. And then, 6 o'clock showtime. We'll have live game audio, music on the commercials. All are welcome. It's a family show. So once again, you can get your tickets at KFTVWatch.com or KnicksFanTV.com. 4 o'clock sharp.
Best of luck to you.
Yes.
Not to the Knicks. And
stop hating, bro.
Good chatting.
Hate in the next round.
Wait the next round. I'll hate you. Thank you for coming in. We
Always appreciate it, fellas.
Great
Appreciate it.
CP the Fanchise. You can check them out after every Knick game and also all the program they've done leading up to Knicks Pistons Best of 7. We will make our NBA Finals predictions coming up at 5:30. Sean's got a Cinco de 5-0.